Ah, sound check, sound check. Testing my sounds. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to GEEXX Plays. I apologize for the sound. I'm not sure. I've tried doing some sound checks and stuff like that and making some adjustments, but I'm still using a secondhand microphone. After my old mic died, I still haven't replaced it yet. So, my apologies about the sound quality of my recording. The other thing too is my voice is just, I've kind of lost my voice for no apparent reason the last couple of days, so there's that as well. So, having said that, I finally beat Mass Effect 3. Yes, a 15-year-old game, I think it's 15 years old. I finally beat it and played it. It was sitting in my games folder, and it's like kind of in my stack of shame there. It's like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll get it over with and get it done with. So I kind of just powered through it quickly, and I want to talk about it. Maybe a few spoilers. Who the hell knows? One of the things about this game that's different from the previous games is that this game is, in a lot of ways, very streamlined. Like you can't, the previous games when you went to like crack a door, like unlock it or something, you have to do a little mini game to get it unlocked. This time when you're like hacking something, it just hacks it. It just takes time. It's automatic. Some of that is because of the nature of the game. When the game opens, basically Earth is attacked by the Reapers, and you're supposed to do this quickly. You're supposed to gather allies, gather supplies, in order to defeat the Reapers and save Earth. So, it kind of makes sense that the game is a bit more streamlined. There's not, when you go into the galaxy map, I'm in here. Alright. Something else. Relay. There's less exploration. Like I can enter orbit, but I can't just land on any planet. That's just not something you can do. When you go to the mass relay, there's a lot now, but initially there were fewer spots on the map. I mean, this is the end game. I beat the game and then it kind of dumped me back here before I went into end game. So I could go in here and try and beat the game again, try and get a better ending, because I did not get the best ending. So for most of the game, there's not that much to explore. Let's see. What else can I talk about? Nope, couldn't do that. Squad. That's not gonna. There are fewer characters you can play with, fewer NPCs. But overall, despite the fact that there's less exploration and the game being more streamlined, this is probably my favorite game of the series.
The Turians will hold. Pound for pound, they're the best fighting force in the galaxy.
Pound for pound is irrelevant.
My complaints about the combat, previous games, a lot of those criticisms still stand. I think I'm more used to it in this game. I didn't do it well. My problem with combat in this game is that I play this on normal difficulty level, which is not the obviously not the hardest, but the game's difficulty ramps up very quickly. I spent most of the game in the fights they were a breeze until they weren't. When the game difficulty ramps up, it ramps up hard. There was no gradual increase in difficulty. You go from basically having your party being able to solo the entire mission before you don't have to do anything, to just getting creamed. I think some of that was because I accessed one of the DLCs a bit early, without knowing it. I wasn't trying to, and like, why am I all of a sudden dying nonstop over and over and over again? And I think it was because like I hit one of the DLCs, and you're meant to encounter that later in the game. I got to it early, so some of that's on me. But I do think the difficulty is very, very easy for a very, very long time, and it's not until like you're about 2/3 of the way through the main game that the difficulty actually starts feeling like it's difficult. The game is super easy up until then. The animation, this running animation, which I've complained about, still looks stupid. There's a lot of uncanny valley stuff in the end. I mean, graphically, this game is better than previous two, but yeah, there's still problems with the animation. There's still a lot of uncanny valley stuff in the way your character looks, the way other characters move. Story-wise, for the most part, I actually like the story the best. That may be controversial. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but you know, in the first game, I was slightly invested, but it was more of a curiosity than any real sense of attachment. The second game, I wound up skipping lots of the conversations. In this game, the only stuff I really skipped was like boring interpersonal reactions. There were times when Shepard gives his inspirational speeches. I skipped all those because it happens 2 or 3 times in this game. It's happened 2 or 3 times in all the other games. I'm sick and tired of Shepard's inspirational speeches. I really am. So, yeah, there was some redundancy and repetition from previous games. There were other things. One of the other things I really did not like about this game, there are sections in the game where you have to, like, there's nothing happening, but you are forced to move your character. You're forced to move Shepard around. There's nothing for him to do. You just have to walk him from one point to another. That's literally all you got to do. And during some of those instances, you are walking in slow motion. You know, you're not running. You are slowly. I can't make him do it. I'm not sure if there's a way to do it. He's very, very slowly walking, and you have to just. It should have been. You know, those instances are there for story purposes, and they feel like they maybe could have been cutscenes, but then they would have been super long cutscenes that had very little going on. It's just one of those things I think wasn't handled well. You know. Let's see what else I can talk about this game. I like the way the weapon system worked. The way you could upgrade your weapons. The weapons had modifications. But one of the things I mentioned earlier was that the game was streamlined because you're like in a rush to try and save the Earth. But then there were times when you would just kind of be diverted. It's like, hey, let's have a party. We've been working hard. Let's relax for a little while. It's like, but the people on Earth are dying. Do we really have time to throw a party? Kind of thing. Like, that was very incongruous. So there were instances like that where, you know, we're being pushed to rush and save the Earth, and then we're just diverted for something stupid and pointless. But again, having said that, I did really, really enjoy this game compared to the previous two. I would say that this is probably my favorite of the series. I think one of the reasons is that story-wise, they didn't pull any punches. In previous games, you know, and this is a spoiler, so if you want to avoid spoilers, it's a 15-year-old game. Who cares? In the previous games, none of the main characters really were in any danger. You know, you might skip recruiting a character because you didn't do the right dialogue. But in this game, there's consequences. If you screw up, you know, you could lose. Like, characters could die. Major NPCs could die. And that was for me a huge surprise when they. You know, there are some characters that come back from previous games, mostly from Mass Effect 2, some from Mass Effect 1, but yeah, when the first character whose name that I remembered, a character I remembered from previous games, when they died, it's like, oh, they're not going to fully punch this game, and yeah, they really go hard, and I think that's one of the things I respected about this game and the fact in the story. I think if you do better, if you don't make as many dialogue mistakes as I did, if you get enough allies and supplies going on, you get a better ending and more characters survive. So there is that. What was I gonna say? Characters dying. There's a point I wanted to bring up, and now it's gone. I was thinking about it when I was talking, and now it's just completely gone. I think that's because my throat's sore, and I'm kind of, I think I'm coming down with something. So I'm feeling a little lightheaded. In addition to my sore throat. I don't feel like trying to do any missions to show you anything. There's really not much going on left in the game. I only have a few extra missions I could run. Oh, that's what I want to talk about. Dialogue mistakes. Something I complained about in the previous games, and is carried over to this one. In that there are some dialogue choices that seem like the right one, the correct one to get the, and then they're just not. It's like, hey, I want to make I want these two people to be nice and get together and get along and be friends, and make a choice that seems like that's what it would be. It's like, no, this is the choice that makes them hate each other. So that's the problem I have with some of these dialogue style games, not just this one, but the other Mass Effect games. And I think, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 had the same problem. And, dialogue options that were not as clear as they could have been. Another criticism I have is that there are parts of the game that are just on rails. That, like, where you go is you're completely restricted in where you're going to go until you reach a point and the game says, oh, it's supposed to be obvious what you're going to do here. It's like, no. And a couple of times I got stuck because, I have to look up and shoot something to open up the way to open it, and it's out of the main line of sight, but somehow you're supposed to know. And you could make the game hint for you what to do, like holding on the V button would supposedly show you where it's supposed to next, but you could hold the V button down and it would just say, find your way going forward. So that was annoying. I know I've been harping on the game for a while, which I probably shouldn't be doing. But I did really like this game. I feel bad harping on it like I have, because what I did. You can get some new powers. By dialoguing with people, you can unlock special powers. Cool little feature. I think this might be all I have to say. I feel bad. I kind of thought I had more to say about this, but I guess I do not.
My entire life. If I'd been shown the beacon on Thessia earlier,
You would have needed Shepard's cipher to comprehend it.
I don't know.
I still could have learned from it.
This game, one of the things that made me like this game the most is the story elements. The combat is very, very similar to the previous games. The gameplay is very, very similar. It introduced a couple new elements, not many, but enough to make older, experienced players, give them something new to look at, but also to make them comfortable. There's Garrus. Yeah, Garrus makes a return. Alright, this review sucks, but my throat is killing me, and I'm feeling fucking lightheaded. So, my favorite of the 3 Mass Effect games is this one, because it had a better story, in my opinion. Because the story didn't pull any punches, in spite of the few problems I had with it, it's still a decent story. I need a nap. I want to go to bed early. So apologies for not doing a better review. I had fun playing the game. I don't got much else to say. As always, thanks for watching. As always, my stuff is crap. I miss more so than usual. And until next time, good hunting.